Have you ever been jolted awake in the middle of the night by a sudden leg cramp? Sharp, stabbing, almost like a knife cutting through your calf. I know many of us have felt that pain. It comes out of nowhere, twisting and tightening, leaving you wide awake and restless. And then the next morning, you drag yourself out of bed, tired, drained, and with legs that feel like they just don't want to carry you. Have you ever felt that way? Hello, my name is Dr. Michael Anderson. For more than 25 years, I've had the privilege of working with patients over 50 here in the United States. And through thousands of stories, I've come to realize something important. Leg cramps are not a sentence of old age. They are not the price you have to pay for turning 60 or 70. In fact, cramps are more like a warning bell. Your body's quiet way of saying, I need some care. I'm missing something. And most often, that missing piece is magnesium. Magnesium is like the silent conductor of your body's orchestra, guiding your muscles to contract and relax in harmony. When it runs low, the music turns chaotic. That's when the cramp strikes, like a sour note in the middle of a song, painful, disruptive, and enough to steal your night's rest. In today's video, I want to share with you 5 magnesium-rich foods, simple, everyday foods that are easy to find, yet powerful enough to help your muscles relax, restore your sleep, and bring lightness back into your steps. And beyond that, I'll also give you a few quick remedies, practical tools you can use the very moment a cramp hits, so you can ease the pain and let it melt away within minutes. When we think about magnesium, many people immediately picture supplements in a bottle. But I want you to remember this. Nothing compares to the nutrition that comes from real, natural food. And on that list, spinach has always held a special place in my heart. I remember a patient of mine, Linda, 63 years old. She used to struggle with terrible night cramps. She tried everything, massage, ointments, even sleeping pills, but nothing truly worked. I suggested something very simple. Add a small serving of lightly steamed spinach to her dinner, drizzled with a touch of olive oil and a squeeze of lemon. 3 weeks later, she returned to my office with brighter eyes and a smile that said it all. Doctor, I'm finally sleeping again, and the cramps are almost gone. That wasn't magic. That was science. Spinach is loaded with magnesium, and the body absorbs it far more easily than from a pill. When you steam it gently, just a few minutes, you preserve about 95% of its nutrients. But here's the key. Don't overcook it and avoid eating it together with milk, since the calcium in dairy can compete with magnesium and block its absorption. Another food I often recommend is the avocado. I like to call it nature's green heart. Each avocado gives you about 60 milligrams of magnesium, along with healthy fats that protect your heart. For older adults, that's priceless, because it's not just your muscles that need to relax, your heart needs care too. I often suggest having avocado for breakfast, smashed on whole grain toast or sliced into a fresh salad with a bit of lemon juice. That little touch not only brings out the flavor, but also helps your body absorb the minerals more effectively. And believe me, even one small habit like this can calm low-level muscle inflammation and cut down those painful cramps. So I want you to picture this. Instead of being jolted awake in the middle of the night with that stabbing pain in your calf, you're lying peacefully, breathing evenly, drifting through a full night's sleep. That's the power of choosing the right foods. Simple, natural, and often more effective than you could ever imagine. There's a food many people think of as just a little treat, but in truth, it can be a natural medicine for tired legs that cramp at night. That food is dark chocolate. And I'm not talking about the sweet candy bars loaded with sugar and milk. You'll find those in every supermarket aisle. I mean real chocolate with at least 85% cacao or higher. What's special about cacao is this. Dark chocolate contains nearly twice as much magnesium as almonds, about 500 milligrams in just 100 grams. But that's not all. It also holds a compound called theobromine. The name may sound unfamiliar, but its effects are powerful. It helps improve blood circulation and even supports deeper sleep. I remember one of my patients, Thomas, 68 years old. He often woke up around 2 or 3 in the morning with painful cramps. I suggested he try a little dark chocolate in the afternoon, prepared gently, melted slowly at low heat, under 113 degrees Fahrenheit. then mixed with a pinch of Himalayan salt and a touch of coconut oil. A few weeks later, he returned, smiling softly. "Doctor, I finally slept through the night. My wife says she hasn't seen me sleep that peacefully in years." That's the power of small choices when you choose the right ones. From the richness of chocolate, let's move to the simplicity of black beans. I often tell my patients, if dark chocolate is the luxury gift, then black beans are the faithful friend that always waits in your kitchen. Just 100 grams of black beans contain around 160 milligrams of magnesium, along with protein and fiber. They don't just calm muscle contractions, they also help steady blood sugar and improve digestion. Things most of us start to care deeply about once we pass 50 or 60. One of my patients, Mary, often complained about bloating, poor sleep, and her legs stiffening in the evening. My advice was simple. Replace white rice with black beans and brown rice for a few meals each week. The only rule? Soak the beans overnight before cooking to wash away the compounds that cause indigestion. 3 months later, she came back with a warm smile and said, "Doctor, I feel younger, lighter, and those cramps hardly bother me anymore." Sometimes it's the humble foods that bring the greatest change. And finally, let's talk about almonds, a small nut that carries an incredible reserve of energy. To me, almonds are like nature's battery, helping the body restore its balance. They're rich in both magnesium and potassium, two minerals that keep your body's acid-alkaline environment stable. When this balance is steady, muscles are less likely to spasm and cramps gradually fade. But almonds require a little care. I always recommend soaking them in water for about 12 hours before eating. This doesn't just soften the nut and make it easier to chew, it also boosts magnesium absorption by nearly 30%. The right amount is about 30 grams a day, roughly a small handful, best enjoyed in the morning or mid-afternoon, paired with an apple or some citrus fruit for a dose of vitamin C. Just remember, don't eat them together with milk, and of course, anyone with a nut allergy needs to be cautious. I once had a patient, Robert, 72 years old, who told me, "Doctor, I never thought a handful of almonds could change my health. But after just 2 months of making it a daily habit, he felt the difference. Fewer cramps, better energy, and even less need for his afternoon coffee because the fatigue just wasn't there anymore." So you see, whether it's a square of dark chocolate, a bowl of black beans with brown rice, or a handful of soaked almonds, these are simple, everyday choices you can add to your meals. Good health doesn't always come from something complicated or expensive. More often, it grows out of the ordinary foods we choose, repeated with patience, and given as an act of love to our own bodies. I know the feeling of a sudden leg cramp. It comes without warning, locking you in pain as if your muscle has been seized. Many of my patients have described it to me as an invisible hand gripping their calf, refusing to let go. In those moments, panic is common. The more you struggle, the more it hurts. That's why the very first thing I want you to remember is this. Stay calm, because there are simple steps you can take that often ease the pain faster than you'd expect. What to do the moment a cramp strikes, I always remind my patients. When a cramp comes, don't just lie there and suffer. Wake your legs up. One of the quickest ways is to place your bare foot on a cool floor. The cold against your skin doesn't just jolt you awake. It also sends signals through your nerves that help the muscle release. A colleague of mine once called it a gentle shock for the calf, and I think that's the perfect way to describe it. After that, take a few slow steps. Walk gently with your knees slightly bent. This gets the blood flowing again and helps the muscle loosen. Many of my patients have told me that just 1 or 2 minutes of slow walking can take away most of the tightness. Imagine your muscle as a river that's become blocked. Each careful step you take is like removing the stones, allowing the current to flow freely again. Another technique I truly believe in is acupressure. There are 2 points that traditional medicine highlights as especially helpful for cramps: Susanli and Shinshan. When the pain hits, press your thumb firmly into these spots for about 10 seconds while breathing slowly and deeply. One of my patients, George, 70 years old, once told me, "Doctor, I never believed in acupressure, but after trying it, my cramps faded faster than anything else I've done." Science calls this a form of neuromuscular stimulation. I simply think of it as the body's way of responding to the right touch. Sometimes all it takes is the right reminder to bring your muscles back into rhythm. Simple home remedies. Once the cramp eases, there are gentle home remedies that can help your body recover more quickly. One of my favorites is what I like to call an anti-cramp shot. It's a simple drink I often prepare for patients. Just a cup of warm water with a spoonful of rosemary honey, a pinch of pink Himalayan salt, and a few drops of lemon juice. This little tonic not only restores minerals, but also helps your body quickly rebalance its electrolytes. Another effective method is alternating hot and cold therapy. Place a cold compress on the tight muscle for 20 to 30 seconds, then switch to a warm towel or heating pad. Repeat this cycle 3 times. The change in temperature acts like a double massage for the muscle, breaking the spasm while stimulating circulation. One patient once told me, "Doctor, every time I do this, it feels like someone flipped the switch back on in my body." If you have magnesium oil, try mixing a few drops with a little wintergreen or lavender essential oil and massage it gently into the cramped area. The magnesium absorbs through the skin, while the essential oils bring warmth and relaxation. It's more than just treatment. It's a ritual of self-care, a reminder that your body deserves kindness and attention. After the cramp, what you do after the cramp passes is just as important. Many people instinctively lie back down, but I usually suggest taking a slow 5-minute walk instead. This keeps the blood moving, carrying nutrients to the muscle fibers that just went through the spasm. Next, drink a glass of warm water with magnesium chloride. Think of a cramp as a small fire inside the muscle, and magnesium chloride as the cooling water that puts it out. And finally, here's a lesser-known but very effective remedy: applying green clay. This natural clay draws out toxins, reduces inflammation, and infuses the skin with gentle minerals. Simply mix the clay with a little warm water, apply it to the cramped area, and leave it for about 20 minutes. A 65-year-old patient once told me, "After using the clay, my legs felt lighter, and I slept more deeply than I had in years." You see, managing cramps isn't complicated. It starts with small, simple actions: placing your foot on the floor, taking a few steps, breathing slowly, sipping warm water. But it's these small acts, repeated consistently, that truly make the difference. I believe that when you learn to listen to your body and respond to it with gentleness, cramps stop being a burden. Instead, they become a gentle reminder to slow down and care for yourself a little more. My dear friend, after more than 25 years of working with older patients, there is one thing I have come to firmly believe. Leg cramps are not the destiny of aging. They are not the end of peaceful sleep, nor an excuse to lose the freedom of every step you take. A cramp is simply your body's way of signaling that something is missing, a vital nutrient called magnesium. When you nourish your body with magnesium-rich foods like fresh green spinach, creamy avocados, crunchy almonds, rich dark chocolate, or a warm bowl of black beans, you are giving both your muscles and your heart the greatest gift: relaxation, balance, and strength. And when you combine this with the right ways to handle a cramp when it strikes, you'll find your sleep becomes deeper, your mornings lighter, and your legs steady enough to carry you wherever you want to go, without fear. I remember one patient, Margaret, age 72. She once told me, "Doctor Anderson, I used to think cramps were just a natural part of getting older. But after only a few weeks of following your advice, I realized I could live differently. I slept through the night, and in the morning I felt 10 years younger." That is not just Margaret's story. I believe it could also be yours. So if you're listening to me right now, ask yourself, do you want to keep suffering from cramps that steal your sleep and joy? Or do you want to give your body the chance to heal, restore, and grow strong again? You now know the 5 magnesium-rich foods. You now know the simple steps to take the moment a cramp appears. The rest is simply your choice. And if you found this message helpful, don't hesitate to hit like, click subscribe, and share this video with your friends and loved ones. One small action could be a life-changing gift, helping someone break free from endless pain and rediscover peaceful, restorative sleep. Remember, health is not something we keep only for ourselves. By sharing it, we spread hope, healing, and love. And I truly believe your golden years can be a beautiful journey, free, steady, and without the shadow of leg cramps.